Today, I want to talk about something that has stolen more dreams than poverty, more opportunities than bad luck, and more potential than lack of talent. I want to talk about the fear of failure. Think about it. How many people never started the business they dreamed about because they were afraid it might fail? How many people never applied for the job they wanted because they were afraid of rejection? How many people never followed their passion because they were afraid of what other people would say? How many people are living a life far below their potential, not because they are incapable, but because they are afraid? The graveyard is full of dreams that never got a chance to live. Not because the dream was impossible, not because the person wasn't talented, not because the opportunity wasn't there, but because fear won. Fear convinced them to stay where they were. Fear convinced them to play small. Fear convinced them to choose comfort over growth. And the saddest part is that fear usually doesn't scream. It whispers. It whispers things like, wait a little longer, you are not ready yet. What if people laugh at you? What if you fail? What if you embarrass yourself? And because those whispers sound logical, we listen. We postpone, we hesitate, we delay, and before we know it, months become years. Years become decades. And one day we wake up wondering where our life went. The truth is, fear of failure is not really fear of failure. It is fear of judgment, fear of embarrassment, fear of disappointment, fear of looking foolish, fear of proving ourselves wrong. But let me ask you something. What is more painful? Failing at something you truly wanted? Or spending the rest of your life wondering what would have happened if you had tried? Because regret is heavier than failure. Failure hurts for a moment. Regret hurts for a lifetime. Many people believe successful people are fear. That is a lie. Successful people feel fear too. The difference is they move anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action in the presence of fear. Every successful person you admire has faced fear. Every entrepreneur, every athlete, every artist, every leader, every innovator, every champion, they all had moments when they doubted themselves. They all had nights when they were scared. They all had times when they wanted to quit. The difference is they refused to let fear make the decision. And that's the lesson. Fear should have a voice, but it should never have a vote. You can listen to fear, but you don't obey it. You acknowledge it, you understand it, and then you move forward anyway. Because growth lives on the other side of fear. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. The life you want, the success you want, the confidence you want, the relationships you want, the opportunities you want. They're all waiting beyond the boundary of fear. The problem is most people spend their entire lives standing at that boundary, looking, dreaming, wishing, but never crossing. Let me tell you something powerful. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. Read that again in your mind. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. You cannot separate them. Every success story includes failure. Every achievement includes setbacks. Every victory includes struggle. Every breakthrough includes mistakes. You see the trophy, you don't see the tears. You see the success, you don't see the sacrifices. You see the result. You don't see the failures that came before it. The world celebrates the victory, but the victory was built on a mountain of failures. Imagine a child learning how to walk. The child falls again and again and again. But the child doesn't say, maybe walking isn't for me. The child doesn't say, I failed 3 times, so I should quit. The child keeps trying, and eventually the child walks, then runs, then jumps. Why? Because the child doesn't see failure as failure. The child sees failure as learning. Somewhere along the way, we forgot that lesson. We started believing that mistakes mean we are not good enough. We started believing that failure defines us. But failure doesn't define you. It develops you. Failure teaches lessons success never could. Failure builds resilience. Failure builds character. Failure builds wisdom. Failure builds strength. The strongest people are not those who never failed. The strongest people are those who refuse to stay down. Think about the greatest moments in your life, the moments that shaped you, the moments that transformed you. Many of them came from difficult experiences. Many of them came from pain. Many of them came from setbacks, because pressure creates growth. Challenges create strength. Adversity creates greatness. The person you are becoming is being built through the struggles you are facing. Don't run from the struggle. Learn from it. Don't fear failure. Use it. Because every failure contains a lesson, and every lesson moves you closer to success. Here's another truth. Most of the things we fear never happen. We create disasters in our minds. We imagine the worst case scenario. We imagine humiliation. We imagine rejection. We imagine catastrophe. And then we suffer from things that don't even exist. Fear often creates a prison made of imagination. The door is unlocked, but we never leave because we believe the prison is real. Ask yourself this question. What would I do if I wasn't afraid? Think about that. What would you start? What would you pursue? What would you change? Who would you become? Now, here's the next question. Why aren't you doing it? Most people already know what they want. The issue isn't clarity. The issue is courage. The issue isn't knowledge. The issue is action. Because action terrifies us. Action removes excuses. Action exposes us to possible failure. But action is also the only thing that creates results. You cannot think your way into confidence. You act your way into confidence. Let me say that again. You do not think your way into confidence. You act your way into confidence. Confidence is not something you get before you start. Confidence is something you earn after you start. Most people wait until they feel confident. Successful people act before confidence arrives. They understand that confidence is the reward for courage, not the requirement. If you wait until fear disappears, you will wait forever. Fear never completely disappears, but your relationship with fear changes. The more action you take, the smaller fear becomes. The more challenges you face, the stronger you become. The more risks you take, the more comfortable you become with uncertainty. You don't become fearless overnight. You become stronger day by day. One decision at a time, one action at a time, one challenge at a time, and eventually the thing that once terrified you becomes normal. Think about all the things you can do today that once scared you. Speaking to strangers, driving a car, taking an exam, starting a new job. You were afraid at first, but you did it anyway. And because you did it anyway, you grew. That is how fear loses power. Not through avoidance, through confrontation. Every time you face fear, you weaken it. Every time you run from fear, you strengthen it. Fear grows in darkness. Fear grows in avoidance. Fear grows in excuses, but fear shrinks in action. Fear shrinks when confronted. Fear shrinks when challenged. You are far more capable than you think, far stronger than you believe, far more resilient than you know. Life has already proven that. You have survived difficult days before. You have overcome challenges before. You have endured pain before. You have faced uncertainty before, and you're still here. You are stronger than the obstacles in front of you. The problem is that many people focus too much on failing. Instead, focus on learning. Instead of asking, what if I fail? Ask, what if I grow? What if I learn? What if I discover strengths I never knew I had? What if this challenge transforms my life? Your future is not determined by your fear. Your future is determined by your decisions. And every day you have a choice. You can choose comfort, or you can choose growth. You can choose safety, or you can choose possibility. You can choose fear, or you can choose courage. One choice keeps you where you are. The other takes you where you want to go. Years from now, you will not be proud of the fears you obeyed. You will be proud of the fears you conquered. You will be proud of the risks you took, the chances you embraced, the dreams you pursued, the obstacles you overcame. Because at the end of life, people rarely regret the things they tried. They regret the things they never attempted, the opportunities they ignored, the words they never said, the dreams they abandoned, the life they were too afraid to live. Do not let that be your story. Do not let fear write your future. Do not let doubt determine your destiny. You were not born to hide. You were not born to play small. You were not born to spend your life wondering what could have been. You were born with potential. You were born with purpose. You were born with greatness inside you. But greatness requires courage. Greatness requires risk. Greatness requires the willingness to fail. Every great achievement in human history required someone who was willing to risk failure, someone who was willing to be misunderstood, someone who was willing to be doubted, someone who was willing to keep going when others quit. That person can be you, starting today, starting now. Not when everything is perfect, not when you feel completely ready, not when fear disappears. Now, take the first step. Make the call, send the application, start the project, launch the business, write the book, create the video, learn the skill. follow the dream, take the chance, because the greatest risk in life is not failure. The greatest risk in life is never trying. And remember this, failure is an event. It is not an identity. You may fail, but you are not a failure. You may fall, but you are not defeated. You may lose a battle, but you have not lost the war. As long as you keep moving forward, your story is not over. As long as you keep learning, your story is not over. As long as you keep fighting, your story is not over. The next chapter could change everything. The next decision could change everything. The next opportunity could change everything, but only if you keep going. So today, make a promise to yourself. A promise that you will no longer let fear sit in the driver's seat of your life. A promise that you will stop asking for guarantees. A promise that you will stop waiting for perfect conditions. A promise that you will start moving despite uncertainty, despite doubt, despite fear. Because courage is not waiting for fear to disappear. Courage is taking the step while your heart is still racing. Courage is believing in possibility when fear shows you limitations. Courage is choosing growth when comfort calls your name. And when you do that consistently, day after day, month after month, year after year, something incredible happens. You discover that the obstacle was never the fear itself. The obstacle was believing the fear. And the moment you stop believing every fearful thought, the moment you start taking action despite uncertainty, your entire life begins to change. So stand up, rise above your excuses, rise above your doubts, rise above your fears. And remember, you are stronger than your fear. You are bigger than your doubt. You are greater than your failures. You are capable of more than you can imagine. The dream is possible. The opportunity is real. The future is waiting. Now, go out there and prove to yourself what is possible when fear no longer controls your life. Thank you.